I got some ideas, I got some pals, let's get together and pitch some games. So, we have gone through all of the Nintendo series, A to Z, and Z leads us all the way down to Zelda, which, like Mario and Pokemon, this is one of my most exciting ones to talk about, just because it's it's really hard to think about what's your favorite game of all time or what's your
Yeah.
even favorite Nintendo series and stuff. But the one that sticks out to me is A Link to the Past. And I think that might be my favorite Nintendo game ever. And that's the last Zelda game that I really like full blown like. Except when the sequel came out last year, A Link Between Worlds, and I was like, this is why I like Zelda again. And I
Yeah.
think Zelda belongs in 2D or even like the top down perspective to me. I really, this is controversial. I really don't think any of the 3D worlds really work for me. I never, like I said, never had a 64, and I tried the 3DS remake, and it was like fine, but I found controlling Link was kind of weird and cumbersome. Like, there's no jump button. You just kind of have to make him jump like kind of Tomb Raider to make him go to an edge, and oh, you screwed up, and you got to go over again. The
Right.
same thing with the 3D Mario games. I don't really like those ones either. I think they're fine, but I don't think they are as precise as what the 2D does for jumping, especially 3D Mario. That always felt really off to me. And
I
I mean,
always miss the. You know how normally you can just pound on Goombas?
yeah,
Well, in like Mario 64, I always missed them, so I'd get hit, so I'd lose life.
yeah, that's what happens when you like transfer things between. I mean, um, it's whatever. Transitioning in 3D is pretty hard.
Yeah.
And that might be some nostalgia for me, talking about how I like 2D more than
Well,
3D.
my first Zelda experience was actually Ocarina of Time. So,
Oh,
I
really? That's
yeah.
interesting. Did you never have a Super Nintendo growing up?
Nope. My cousin had one, but I only got to see him during holidays, and the only game he played was Killer Instinct.
Hmm.
I mean, he had a ton of Super Nintendo games. He had this Godzilla one, which was harder than hell. You pretty much just stared at a map, a city layout, and you controlled Godzilla in a very vague sense. You pretty much just watched him walk, and you could tap the button to change his direction, but you didn't have to hold the button. He just kept moving.
That sounds weird. But as much as I would assume from a licensed game, um, getting back to Zelda, what if Zelda took on Godzilla and Matthew Broderick was Link? Well,
I
excuse me, princess.
I'd watch that movie. I'd
I
play
know,
that
so did
game.
I. So did I.
No, I'd watch a Zelda with Matthew Broderick as Link.
Oh shit, I don't know about that.
Imagine if it was like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, Zelda's all like, "Help me,
Oh,
I'm being
wait, what is
whatevered
that movie
again."
called? Lady Hawk. No, he wasn't a fantasy movie. That's why, like when you said Matthew Broderick, I thought of Lady Hawk.
I know what
You
you're talking about. But in
he
this scenario, let's say that Zelda's being kidnapped, and he's like, "I gotta get out of this." So it's Ferris Bueller's Big Day Off as Link, and he's like doing
oh,
all this mischief,
oh, and
and
Ganon's the
someone,
principal.
yeah, he's like, "You need to save Zelda from. I stole her. Now come see me. Why won't you come see me?"
Oh, and Zelda's actually his sister, like in the movie.
Yeah,
She's fucking pissed off. Why don't you fucking save me? Oh, I'm gonna tell on
Sloan.
you.
Was Sloan his sister or was that his girlfriend?
It was his girlfriend in real life, but his sister in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh
The
no, Sloane. Sloane was his girlfriend. Jennifer was his sister.
Okay. Okay, getting away from Matthew Broderick territory, getting back to Zelda. So yeah, but you like
I
Ocarina of
did.
Time, Ocarina Turner of
It
Time.
was it was my first true experience with Zelda. Um, there was a Game Boy one that when me and
Link's
Liz first started dating,
Link's Awakening,
she
Minish
played
Cap.
no, like black and white Game Boy.
Well, that would be Link's Awakening.
Yeah. I remember that one, kinda. I got to play it maybe like 10 minutes.
Okay. But the thing I couldn't pinpoint it on, on myself when I was like playing. I like Wind Waker actually, but the thing I like these 3D games. I like the worlds and stuff, but I just controlling them just feels a little bit weird compared to like the
Yeah.
2D stuff. But getting into my thing, when I played Link Between Worlds, I finally nailed exactly what I really didn't like about it. Not the 3D. It wasn't the graphics. It wasn't any of that stuff. It even wasn't the control so much. It was the constant nagging from your AI partners between Navi and your ship
Tingles.
or Minna. It was like, shut the fuck up and let me explore. The thing about the old games is they put you in a world and they gave you no direction really. It was kind of open. You talk to people and they could give you directions, but you could do what you want. And it was just a really sense of exploration without having someone constantly, like, hey, listen, hey, you know what? You're exploring right now, but we should go over here. Hey, did you hear what I
Hey,
said about this? Hey, shut. Oh my gosh.
hey, you just got these boots, right? You found these boots, right? Well, there's
Do
a
you know?
lake.
Hey, do you know that this costs this much? Hey, even though you already knew this ruby costs this much. Like, are you kidding me?
Uh,
Oh my gosh. I don't know if Nintendo was like, if these people don't understand this game, we got it, whatever. So I'm not saying anything bad really about the 3D games. It's just they didn't really work for me. I do like them, but not as much as the 2D ones.
I think
Um,
Twilight Princess is actually my favorite, just for the scope of the world.
that is interesting. I don't know a lot of people that I now people that like that game. I don't know anyone that would say it's their favorite. That's a very interesting pick. That's even
I,
more interesting than the Moon one, Majora's
oh my!
Mask.
Oh God! I could never beat that game. I don't know. I think the whole counting down thing, it bothered me so much. It was like, why do I want all this pressure?
I definitely do not want time stuff in any kind of game. That's probably what I got out of the. I will say that I don't want to ramble on too. I want to get all to all these things because I'm so excited to talk about all these ideas that I have
All right.
for Zelda that I want to go to. So let's get right into these pictures that I have, and then we'll ramble off towards the end for
All
any
right.
more ideas that we have for where we want Zelda to go. Okay, so this first one is
Four
Four
swords.
Swords with Princess Zelda at the end. And this one is actually a jumping off point is, I don't really probably want a five swords, but I think it would be interesting to see Zelda take the helm. Now, we have seen her be cool as Sheik in
Yeah.
Ocarina of Time, but you couldn't really
And
play
Wind
as her.
Waker.
You can play as her in Wind Waker?
Well, no, she was pretty badass in Wind Waker too.
Yeah, she's a fucking pirate. That
Yeah.
was that was like
Tetra.
you kind of knew that Tetra was the princess, but not really because she didn't really look anything like her until she went back and it's like,
Right.
well, I lost my tan now. Apparently, that was
Yeah.
kind of weird. It's like I had blackface on and
You
I
want
took it off.
you want to know what the twist for this game would be? You see,
It's
Purple
actually
Link.
Link dressed as a girl.
You see Purple Link? That's
That's
actually
Zelda.
Zelda.
Oh, and then the other one is actually Ganon.
Whoa!
No, but Peach had her game, even though she's only really
Yeah.
had one. Zelda definitely deserves her own. I'm guessing you never played the Spirit Tracks.
No.
So Zelda dies in that game.
Really? Oh, I suppose Ghost Train.
Yeah, and she possesses this knight to help Link out. And while that
Oh.
doesn't make her controlling, direct controlling, having her be as the partner of Link was pretty cool.
Yeah. Zelda feels like such a blank slate. In my personal
She's
opinion,
a princess. Princesses really are. The only princesses that are actually well developed while still being damsels in distress are the Disney princesses.
I want to say, what about, what's her face from Mario Galaxy? She was a princess, wasn't she?
I think she's like Queen of the Galaxy. You're talking about Rosalina, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was also kind of whatever. I mean, Mario really doesn't have any story anyway, so it's kind of can't really develop Rosaline
Right.
or whatever. But I don't know. She looked like Peach. Peach's
With
universe
emo
mom.
hair.
Yeah, with bangs. So yeah, I think it'd be cool if freaking Link got stolen for once, or if it was like a cutesy kind of adventure, because that's what Peach's thing was. And even though it was kind of a down
I
demographic for appealing to girls, I think it would be kind of interesting to see
I
her
feel like a
go
Zelda
off
adventure, I feel like they could go a little darker with it. Like, as dark
as
as Zelda games get.
as her, or do you mean
Yeah, as
going?
her. Like,
Um,
Because I
I'm on
mean,
my period.
they explored that idea with Ocarina of Time of when Link disappeared, Zelda had to step up,
Yeah,
and she had to.
Ocarina of Time is one of the most beloved games. What if they like went back and like make a in between sequel for that?
Yeah,
That could work as like a 3DS game.
the Legend of Zelda.
Ocarina 2.5. Chic.
God, God, what would you call it? The Night of the Sheik's Night.
I don't know. But at the same time, you couldn't really get that far with her because she steps up, but she didn't really accomplish anything. It,
No,
it
she didn't
seems besides.
stop Ganon.
Yeah. And I would say that, like, what if they just set it after the world where there's basically the timeline where Link disappears from his adult self and leaves Zelda behind. So there's no Hero of Time in that perspective because he's gone and the other boys, whatever. So maybe there's some conflict that happens, but then again, I think that timeline is the one where Wind Waker happens because without the Hero of Time, everything goes into chaos.
The
There's
world
three
gets flooded.
timelines according to Nintendo.
Miyamoto.
It could be where Zelda tries her best and then ultimately maybe fails and Ganon like unleashes something and then that's why it gets flooded.
Oh, he
Of
gets.
course, putting the blame on a girl would be kind of like this kind of
Yeah.
weird as well. But case in point, Zelda needs her own game.
She does need
Um,
her own game. I am 100% behind this.
yeah. Moving on. This is actually just a cool little art drawing of someone basically in the style of Final Fantasy Tactics as Link. I don't know if you can see that from whatever.
Like,
But
the kicker is he's Zelda the whole time.
it does look very kind of feminish, kind of. The jumping point why I kept this one in here, besides it just looking like a really cool piece of art, is Zelda. Kind of is an action RPG, but not really. You're not really gaining levels.
Right.
But they definitely could have it be an RPG.
Yeah, straight up RPG.
Yeah, I mean they made Mario into RPG. Why couldn't they do Zelda? And I mean, he doesn't have to have party members. He could have, he could have Zelda.
He could have temporary party members depending, like, if you're, going to Mount. Oh, shit. The Fire Temple, you could have Dodongo or Goron as your party member.
Yeah, you could have like per dungeon. You could have the whatever, or you could just have one going through with the game. But I mean, you can keep them silent. You don't have to have them talk to make it into an RPG.
Yeah.
Um,
RPGs
I just
survive so long with silent protagonists.
Yeah, and they could set it during like a more warring time to make it more of a conflict.
Yeah.
Maybe he's searching for allies to help in a huge war against Ganon, or even pre-Ganon or
maybe
post-Ganon or
maybe
something
the Gerudo have finally risen up to take the Hyrule,
to take the ass of Link.
to tame his ass.
Yeah. I definitely think that Zelda needs an RPG, real true RPG.
Right.
Next, another funny one. What if Link was a cowboy? Basically, a nice little rendition of Clint Eastwood as Link. Fistful of rupees. Now, I think this would be cool because they could definitely set Zelda in different timelines or different eras, and it could really work out. Setting it in the Old West could also upset people. People were upset when they made Wind Waker for multiple reasons, and
Right.
I don't know. But a horse would really work out in the West,
Yeah.
and just giving the real thing about Zelda, just like Link or just like Mario, is the setting is always seems to be the same. It's always a fire temple and a water temple, et cetera, et cetera. It's always Hyrule. He needs to go to a different world, and that's
Yeah.
why I liked Wind Waker because it was Hyrule, but it wasn't at the same time.
He needs to get trapped on an island with a giant bird and help collect instruments.
Yeah, yeah, and help the space whale.
Exactly. The space whale.
Speaking of space whales, this next one actually reminds me of how you drew a lot in high school, and make Link. into a modern era. Make him a bum. Make him like a traveler, and he's like a musician or something, and then he happens upon this weird tattoo, and he's like, "Oh, this is weird, man. This is just something I've had since birth, and it's actually the Hyrule thingy." And you're trying to date this goth chick named Chic, whatever, something. Then she turns out to be something. I don't know.
You're dating
Um,
Impa all along.
this one, this one is just a jumping off point to go into what I think would be very awesome is to set this series in the modern era, or at least I'm not saying like New York or something like that, but I'm saying in a more advanced timeline in a post Hyrule kind of era to give it a new setting. Give him. You don't have to make him really weird looking or whatever, but it could work and it could appeal to a huge audience if you take it out of like the fantasy world, but at the same time you would like defeating it as well. But I mean, maybe they can make it like a kid in King Arthur's court where he gets summoned to a fantasy realm, and he's like, "Whoa, Nintendo!" Like the Nintendo kid for that
Exactly.
TV show, Captain N, and then he meets Mega Man.
Hey,
Listen,
we gotta collect power capsules.
I got the dongle in my butt. It itches. Okay. This next one is very obvious where the guy's taking his inspiration from, which is like a Kingdom Hearts. I guess I have not much up to say than that, other than I've always, dreamt of a Smash Brothers concept, but actually blending all the Nintendo realities together to make it into an RPG of some sort, just because it really would work. There was a mock-up that somebody, I believe it was an April Fool joke that OneUp.com or EGM made back in the day. It was called Mushroom Kingdom Hearts, and it was Sora and Mario together, and I was so excited. I was like, this could really work. And, that didn't come to pass. I was like, oh, those April Fools. Ah, shit, I was fooled. But it just, it doesn't even have to be Square Enix or whatever, but it just could be cool to see them be more of a tie-in than Smash Brothers, because Smash
Yeah.
Brothers is all well and good, but it's a fighting game, and I don't know. They try to do some kind of story in the last one in Brawl, but that's another game that people will love, but I don't like the controls at the same time. In order to jump, you need to press up. What's up with that, Mario? You always got a Mario button. You always got the jump button. What? Why am I using up to jump and you gotta do a weird combination to fly and float all? That's just ah ah.
Fighting
Just,
games, they have such good intentions when they do. Hey, it's a fighting game. Let's add a story because fighting games are so freaking story centric.
so you gotta go through every single person to get a story, and it's like, well, this person wins is this, so it's like 20 different timelines. So it doesn't work or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Next, what if they made Zelda into Conan the Barbarian?
He is manly.
We've talked about Metroid being the obvious choice for if Nintendo wanted to go to a mature level.
Right.
That would be the one that would really work. But at the same time, it could work for this as well.
Yeah.
Again, maybe not huge amounts of blood or whatever, but you could have like an older Link. Why has there not been like an actual older Link? Not like a. You would say that the Ocarina Link, he was. How old would you think he warped into?
18.
Yeah, I'm thinking like teenager for sure. If from like a boy of whatever 8 or 10.
Right.
But yeah, this guy looks like he's like 30. Like Link doesn't die after the Zelda games. What happens to him? There's just peace and that's it.
Well, according
Sure.
to the Ocarina of Time, the timeline after, he ends up marrying that girl at the farm.
Oh, the Lon Ranch girl.
Yeah, they have 2 boys, and then he kind of like goes off into the distance and disappears. But they did kind of continue.
What if Link gets a Luigi
Oh,
and there's a brother game and not the forced like actual brother?
yeah,
What if there's actually like it'd be weird to do it like this, but what if they make a co-op focused Zelda game? Now you don't have to have a friend to play with you.
Right.
The other one could be AI if you don't have someone to play with. But it would be interesting to have like two brothers, two whatever
Yeah.
going at each other, and maybe they don't even have to be Link. Maybe they have to be somebody else to save Link or Zelda or whatever. Maybe the Goron brothers or something. I don't know. Or maybe two people in the universe that would work together, like a Goron and a one of those squid things. I don't know. I don't know.
It's obviously Tingle's adventure.
He's had multiple adventures. He's had so many that are just
Oh.
so weird and strange. He's had a balloon fight clone. He's had an RPG. He's had Tingle's Dick Simulator. I don't know. So yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see him as like a beefcake, just kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So this next picture is why I got the idea for game ideas in the first place. Idea. Because I saw this and I was like, hell yes, this is what it's all about. I can die happy. Okay, not that extreme, but old Link, not Beefcake Link, but old Link. He's gone and he's aged. Like I said, there's stuff that happens obviously in the Zelda games. He has a life, but what if that life is interrupted and he must retake his stuff once again? I think this is one of the coolest pieces of fan art I've ever seen. And just like one of the coolest ideas ever. There's no idea here. It's just the concept of an old Link. And I mean, look at Metal Gear Solid 4. Not Big Boss. Solid Snake is freaking old and he's aged hyper because of the whole cloning process. And he still kicked ass. He was, groveling every once in a while and he had his problems. And I definitely think you got to give that to Link here. You can't just make him like super powerful. You got to obviously give him some kind of restrictions and
Balance him
whatnot.
out.
Yeah, but I still think it would be really cool to see because there's not really old characters in games, and
No.
yeah, for the most part, a lot of games are focused towards children. I don't think people want to be like, Mommy, I don't want to play as this old man.
I don't want to play as Grandpa.
Grandpa smells.
Link smells.
He smells like lawn milk after it's been sitting in the yard. And Grandpa came in it. So yeah, I don't know. I know that you like this piece of art as well.
I do.
And it's 3D, but it also looks like it could be like an action figure. It's
It
really
does
hard to
look
tell,
like-
really.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It looks like it could have been like somebody like molded it. It's that convincing that I can't tell if it's CG or if it's somebody really good at friggin' making molds or making figures.
It's actually real. So yeah, make that game for sure. This next one is kind of something I want, but not really as pretentious as. So it combines what I was talking about, the real life kind of thing, where they could set it. This one could be in New York, just based off everybody, but you got hipster Ganondorf over there, and you got all that shit. You got Navi's a person. You got. Is that supposed to be Sheik?
I'm guessing.
Yeah, so Zelda. Oh yeah, because whatever. And Tingle's like a whatever. He's
And he's got Majora's like the mood from Majora's Mask behind him.
It's Kanye West over there. Got his clock. Got his glasses.
Oof.
Yeah, that's pretty weird. So yeah, obviously Legend of Hipster. Make that game. No, I don't know.
It could be interesting.
Yeah, but like I said,
It-
hipsters are pretentious. So
I don't know.
But-
Every time I look at this picture, I just keep thinking in my head, Jet Set Radio.
oh my, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Jet Set, Zelda, Link, whatever.
Zelda Set Radio.
Yeah. This next one is actually a fan art someone did of basically taking these Zelda characters and making them into like Metal Gear kind of characters.
I get it. Link's supposed to be Raiden.
Yeah, Raiden, and we got Zelda as Naomi, I'm thinking, and then we got Raven as like a Goron, and then Sniper Wolf as I don't know who that's supposed to be in the Zelda universe.
Maybe Zora?
That makes sense, yeah. and then Ganondorf as Liquid.
Huh.
So I don't know. It's just a very cool concept design of just again, this could be ignoring the whole Metal Gear thing, setting a world in a future technology where
Yeah, Cyberpunk.
Link, yeah, oh yeah, Cyberpunk. Link is basically he's a hero. He's actually been established as a hero or something, and he gets the shit beat out of him, and he has to come back as like a cyborg, and he's just like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's ass kicking time.
it is. And he has a sword that can cut through anything.
Yeah, and let's stop with kidnapping Zelda. How about we just establish that even before we finish with that stuff? Can we stop with kidnapping Zelda? I mean, I know she's like part of the Triforce or some bullshit, but
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
She's the Triforce of Wisdom.
Yeah.
Wisdom!
How does she not fucking know that she's gonna be kidnapped? I guess power overtakes wisdom or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
The next one, and the very final one, is another era piece that would be pretty cool to see Zelda take place in feudal Japan. And that, they kind of already made that game, and that game was called Okami.
Yeah.
Because Okami kind of was Zelda. I mean, it even has like little voice thingies or whatever, but this is a wolf. But yeah, I think Samurai Link would be pretty cool. I don't know, what are your thoughts on this?
I would like to see it. I think Link would be pretty badass as a samurai.
For sure.
He's already kind of got that mentality. He does things by himself. He
Yeah,
does follow a lord. His lord is Zelda.
yeah, and what if he is just a wandering samurai? What if it's just like Ronin, and he's just wandering the world and just doing quests, and then this could be also like an RPG where there's no real goal really until like maybe a certain point after like an hour or two in, maybe something happens and he has to do something, but just make it into something that you don't have to. Just like the Pokemon thing, you don't have to go and do fucking 3 dungeons, then 8 dungeons, and then the final dungeon. That's old. That's as old as rescuing a princess. Just whatever.
It is old.
Maybe they should make Princess Zelda into
Maybe.
the samurai.
Yeah.
So that's the last fan art piece. What are your final thoughts on Zelda? Like, what do you want, or what are these things that are most appealing to you?
I don't like the current rumor going around that's probably been confirmed, and I don't know that.
Tell me.
That that friggin' Muso Zelda.
Oh, that one's confirmed.
Blah.
But that is not a Zelda game. That is basically kind of a spin-off, just like Pokemon Conquest. It's not. You don't need it. It's
Okay.
just whatever. I think it's kind of a cool concept, and I mean, this is someone that likes the Muso games or whatever. But it's not the Zelda game. So
Right.
just leave it as it is. I think we'll
I
get a lot
like
of hate
Muso
on it.
games too. I feel like Zelda doesn't need that. It
It's definitely a weird game to get a Muso game, that's for sure. But at the same time, it also makes a lot of sense because it is whatever, and
I feel like Zelda could do with a bigger world. It feels like you're always confined so much in these games. Even though
they
you're supposed to be exploring this world, it just feels like you're still trapped inside a box.
yeah they did mention that the producer Aoinuma, I believe his name is, or Aonuma, he said something that the next one is going to be outside the box and think of Skyrim or something like that or something.
You're
But
gonna be fighting inside the sacred realm.
that would be weird. But I think he just meant that it's going to be more of an open world kind of thing, and
You get to
I don't know.
see instead of seeing Link's like Shadow World version, you get to see Link's Overworld version.
I don't know.
Just as long as it isn't, you know, fierce deity Link again. My double helix sword and shooting
Yeah,
energy beams.
yes. I definitely, out of all these, I think the old Link is my favorite
Yeah.
out of everything. And I want old Link game that would make me buy a Wii U if they did it good and they changed things up, or if they made an RPG for like the 3DS. I think it'd be pretty cool too. Or if they made it into like a Skyrim, so it would be like an RPG where you gain levels and stuff. I guess that would work too. As old Link, making it all come together. So yeah, that is the Legend of Zelda.